All right, Troy Kearns, real estate investor, bringing it to you from my Las Vegas office. And in today's video, we're going to talk about Mississippi versus Louisiana. If you're investing in real estate and you're looking for an outside market to invest in, Mississippi and Louisiana are both markets that I invest in and I know a lot about, and I can talk to you about whether they're good investments for you and what I like about this state versus that state. We're gonna get into it right now. Here's what you're gonna learn from this video. You're gonna learn the good news about Mississippi, the bad news about Mississippi, the good news about Louisiana, the bad news about Louisiana, which cities are best for investing in, which cities are not for investing in, where you should buy in these states and where you should avoid in these states. Make sure you stay till the very end. I know every county in Mississippi, all 85 of them, or 87, or 86, somewhere around there. I know a lot of them, but I'm gonna talk to a few of them about investing. Stay to the end, subscribe, like, hit the like button, comment, do whatever you gotta do to make sure that algorithm throws us off into the stratosphere and we get a ton of viral likes. Appreciate it. So as an investor in Mississippi and Louisiana, why was I attracted to those states? Well, first of all, when I first started investing in real estate, I invested in Las Vegas, right? Then Las Vegas, I thought, became too unaffordable in 2011. I started looking out for outside markets. At that point in time, I had some things that I wanted to buy, and one of them was a piece of land, and I wanted to buy a piece of land in Mississippi. And I thought, well, geez Louise, Las Vegas, the market has been decimated. Houses are going down by hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Man, the folks in Mississippi, they just must be giving their stuff away. At least that's what my attitude was. So I went to Mississippi and I started looking for land to buy as a long-term investment for myself. And guess what I found? I found this town called Biloxi, Mississippi, and it's a wonderful town, and it's got a lot of things that Las Vegas has. It's got casinos, it's got jobs, it's got a job market that is similar to Las Vegas, right? Why? Because it is a casino-based gaming resort town. It's just in another state. So I understood the market. So then it goes into finding out how much will they rent for? Are the laws in the state good for investors? And that's what we're going to get into. So first we'll talk about Mississippi. So in Mississippi, I invest in several counties there. I invest in Harrison County, Mississippi, which is down in the South Gulfport part of the region, right? Gulfport is basically the main town in the Biloxi area. People know Biloxi more than they know Gulfport. Gulfport's a bigger city. If I talk about Biloxi, I'm talking about Gulfport. They're all the same thing. For this video purposes, we'll call it South Mississippi, okay? So we're gonna talk about where I invested, which is South Mississippi. So in South Mississippi, I invest in Harrison County, I invest in Hancock County, I invest in Jackson County, which is where a nice area called Ocean Springs is at. Now, why I like Mississippi so much is the following. First of all, in Mississippi, houses are cheap. It's generally a rural area. Most of the houses that I try to buy, they're on good pieces of land. Guess what? People like to buy properties on good pieces of land, especially in Mississippi. Guess what else? Financing on rural properties is $0 down. So you have a large buyer pool when you're flipping properties in Mississippi, because anybody can qualify as long as they got $0 down and a decent credit score. If they have a choice versus renting or buying, it might be cheaper to own than it is to rent. That's why I like Mississippi. That brings me to my next point about Mississippi. So those who can't buy, they're renters, which means you have a huge amount of renters because people just don't have the ability to buy it. Here's what I don't like about Mississippi. There's lots of insurance that you could purchase if you wanted to. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do it. I'm just suggesting if you're financing it, then you're probably gonna have to get it because the lender's gonna require, but if you're individually doing it on your own money or structuring it with a creative finance deal, then you're not gonna have to do it. But if you are super worried about storms, hurricanes, and the alike, then don't buy on the water or close to where it flooded in Hurricane Katrina. That is getting into one of the most expensive costs in investing in Mississippi is the insurance. You're not only gonna have flood insurance, you're gonna have and hail insurance. That's another insurance. And then you're gonna have your general liability insurance, which is gonna cover fire and the like. So essentially you're gonna have 3 policies of insurance. If you're in a floodplain, that'll price you out of investing in the market. An average insurance policy just for a basic liability in Mississippi is about $1,000 to $1,500. If you add flood, that could be $500 to $1,000. If you add another policy, you might be talking about $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 for one insurance policy for a $40,000 house. That don't make no sense. That's why I just buy liability. It costs you 40 bucks for the house. House blows over in a storm, you're out the 40 grand, okay? So that's the negative about Mississippi, is that the insurance is way more than it's worth. I wouldn't buy it. I don't suggest buying it, but again, that's your decision. So what do I like about Louisiana, and what's better about Louisiana than Mississippi? Louisiana, and specifically in this area, I'm gonna talk about New Orleans, because I only own property in Orleans Parish, not Orleans County, because in New Orleans, one of the reasons why I do not like investing in it, it's Napoleonic code. It means that every law in Louisiana is written based on French code. If you didn't know, you'll know now that all of the laws in the United States, most of the states, are based on English common law, right? Except for in Louisiana, it's based on French common law or Napoleonic code. So you have a whole different set of rules that you got to play with that is different than the rest of the states, which is pretty common in general, but this is a whole different set of playbook. So with Napoleonic code, you have forced heirship, like with probate. You have succession, right? So it's a different rule, different schools. So I don't like that. Here's the other thing I don't like. I don't like that the taxes are super high in New Orleans. That city has one of the highest tax rates ever. The prices are high on the taxes, right? One thing I should mention about both of these states is you're gonna have to pay a state income tax with both of them. They vary in Mississippi, they vary in New Orleans. Even if you have a corporation in Nevada, because you're doing business in Mississippi or Louisiana, you're gonna have to pay a state tax. So that is what it is. So here's the research we did. Orleans Parish has a really complicated tax strategy. Okay, that's basically the end of it. I could tell you this firsthand because I know if you homestead your property there, your property goes down in tax value. But I will tell you, generally as a whole, taxes are much higher there because properties are much more valuable there. So that's a negative and a positive, right? You're going to pay a high tax rate, but you're also going to have a high rent. You're going to have a high market for sale, but you're going to have a high barrier to entry. So New Orleans is not a place where just a regular guy can invest and buy $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 houses. They don't exist, right? And the other negative about New Orleans is these houses are old as kingdom come. This place was built in like the 1600s, right? Settled by the Spanish and the French and then the whoever else. I'm not an encyclopedia, but I'm telling you, you got houses that are constructed out of barge board. We've had to deal with them. These houses were built out of like old barge ships. So the construction out there is super expensive. Your tradesmen are more expensive. Your welders are more expensive. Your electricians are more expensive. Your HVAC. Why? Because they pay more money to the city because the city's more expensive to do business in. It's a bigger city. City's got more cost. They got to pass that cost on to the guy who's investing. That's you. So it's more expensive to do business in New Orleans, Louisiana than it is in Gulfport, Mississippi or Mississippi. So it's more expensive. It's a higher cost to do business. It's a higher price, right? So what does that mean? Means you can make more money. Don't always look at the negatives. You gotta look at the positives. If you can buy a house there, an old ass house, you can buy it. And here's the deal. A lot of the people who've had these houses for a long time, they don't realize that the market's completely shifted. Or maybe it was a forced heirship situation. They inherited the house. It's a liability from them. You've got houses that are owned generation after generation after generation that somebody just don't give a, you know what? Eventually they get that house and you might be able to buy it for a good deal, put some money into it and make a home run. We've made some big profits on our properties in New Orleans. I've wholesale deals for $90,000. I've done a wholesale close and made $130,000 in one deal, okay? So there's big spreads in New Orleans. High cost to entry, the vendors cost a lot of money, but can make some huge spreads. So what do I like better? Do I like New Orleans? Do I like Mississippi? I'm gonna tell you what, I like them both, okay? But I like Mississippi for investing in long-term rentals better, and I like New Orleans for flips, right? So I like making flipping money in New Orleans, and I like long-term investing in Mississippi. I'll tell you what, right now I have a portfolio in New Orleans, and I've got more actual money into it, meaning like the value of that assets or the assets is worth more than the properties in Mississippi, but I make more money, way more money on my investments in Mississippi than I do on my investment in New Orleans. But I've got a ton of equity in my properties in New Orleans. So what does that mean? It means that I got fake money in the air that I can't touch, but I got massive amounts of cash flow coming out of Mississippi. So from a cash flow play, you want to buy in cheaper markets, and that's why I like Mississippi better than I like Louisiana, okay? That's why I've stopped investing in New Orleans unless it really makes sense, okay? So we do buy some stuff. I bought an apartment building, but I'm not buying a ton of stuff in New Orleans because it just doesn't make sense financially speaking. So let's talk about how competitive each market is. First of all, New Orleans is super competitive. So it's got it's faster moving market. It's lower days on the market. Stuff sells faster, so it's easier to dispose of something. There's more buyers there. There's more people there. There's more people that are going to see it. In Mississippi, you're very rural. Even though you're in some of the big cities, you're still in the rural area. So the market is very sensitive. So you're not going to be able to recover as quickly in Mississippi as you would in New Orleans. It's going to be a slower market versus a faster market, right? So Mississippi is a slow market. New Orleans is a fast market, right? I have not invested in any area outside of New Orleans, Louisiana. So I will tell you that I do think there's some great opportunities outside the city of New Orleans in Louisiana. But on this particular video, I'm not going to speak about them because I could not speak about them intelligently. But I would check out Baton Rouge because I have checked out that area. All right, so let's wrap that video up. Let's talk about it. Like, where should you invest? Invest in Mississippi. Go look at DeSoto County. Great place. I think Biloxi's a little bit played out right now. I think there's too many people there right now. I would go look at some of the smaller towns in Mississippi, but don't go too small. They've got counties that are like 5,000 people. Sharkey County, Mississippi. Look it up, okay? My dog almost got eaten by an alligator there, okay? You don't want to buy a property in Sharkey County, Mississippi, but you may want to buy one in Forest County, Mississippi, or Lamar County, Mississippi, or Hancock County, Mississippi, or Jackson County, Mississippi, or Harrison County, Mississippi, or DeSoto County, Mississippi, but you got to be county specific in Mississippi, okay? And in New Orleans, that's all I'm going to talk about there. I definitely would recommend Orleans or Jefferson Parish, Louisiana. You're talking about parishes, I would recommend those two parishes. Those are where most people, that's where the highest concentration of people are, and you can find good deals all around those areas, but it is a higher cost to entry, so make sure that you do your research before you buy. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you comment below, and hey, if you got a cool market that you want us to check out, let me know. If you got a great area that we haven't even talked about, I'm interested. I always am looking to find a market that other guys are not invested in. So if you got one, hit me with a comment. Or if you got something that you want to say in this video, hit me with a comment. Mississippi and Louisiana are both excellent places to invest in real estate. Both of them have negatives, both of them have positives. You need to decide which makes the best sense for you. I'm not you, you're you.